It's now been years since I saw the original Macross, but some nights, I still wake up screaming and covered in cold sweat. I don't honestly even know where to begin with reviewing all this, so I'll just instead introduce you to a selection of my favorite scenes from the anime, and leave you to pick up the pieces yourself. Please tell me if you consider any of this safe for human consumption. Super Dimension Fortress Macross takes place in a future where the United Nations Spacey, and its insane engineers have abandoned all conventional warfare, and figured out that instead of relying on ballistics, it's sometimes just better to punch your opponent really hard. The special ingredient in this transforming fortress ship is blood of the innocents, as it randomly kills people trapped inside when it transforms. The captain decides to spam this feature anyway. Another feature of the ship is that it has barely any recreational entertainment, so that task has been delegated to Lynn Minmay, a Chinese restaurant waitress turned into idol. She, by all practical means, has just one song, called My Boyfriend is a Pilot, and it features really striking lyrics about a boyfriend who's a pilot. And she just keeps singing the same song, over and over again. When she later on gets another song, it turns out to be just a theme song for some kung fu movie. If you want to hear this lyrical masterpiece in English, you absolutely can, as Macross also has an English dub, called Robotech, which happens to be actually just a random mashup of 3 non-related anime that apparently seemed similar enough for the localizers. The main character was also called Rick Hunter, which is so overly masculine name that it hardly fits the somewhat indecisive nature of the protagonist. Now, I'm not an American kid, so I've never even seen Robotech, but as a curious trend, people online tend to have very positive memories over it. The way people describe this cut-up Frankenstein of an anime seems to me tonally similar to how people opening about their childhood trauma explain that all kinds of horrible experiences made them stronger in some twisted way. One major plot focus in the series is the romantic tension between the male lead and idol Minmay. The surprise twist in this relationship is that Minmay suddenly reveals that she didn't actually see the protagonist in a romantic light at all, which is a pretty brave plot feat for a romance-focused anime, and instantly proceeds to bang her cousin instead. Now, there are multiple super deep character analysis online on why this all makes perfect sense for the dramatic structure of the series, and who am I to debate the wise Macross hive mind? But can I just point out that this all happens despite them staging a fake wedding just previously, going out for multiple dates, and Minmay composing a song that solely describes her boyfriend who also just happens to be a pilot.
Lynn Minmay, 一体どんな子なのであろう?
It also logically follows that the alpha Chad cousin then proceeds to become a compulsive alcoholic and starts mistreating Minmay, while they tour the post-apocalyptic world for his beer money, and I'm not making any of this up, I swear. At least the protagonist eventually finds true love in the form of this coworker, who told her barber that she wants her hair to look like wheels. And then our hero proceeds to instantly give her the cold shoulder, as the Japanese constitution apparently compels that all 80s male leads must also categorically be horrible human beings. Moving on, You might ask why this Macross thing is in space in the first place, and the answer turns out to be radical incompetency. This is our captain, rocking the name BRUNO GLOBAL, who, despite being portrayed as generally on the ball in this sliding scale of Macross insanity, decided to make an emergency maneuver that catapulted the ship to the outer reaches of our solar system. And he only achieves this by first firing the engines off the ship mid-air.
そんな東郷軍本部に許可を取らないでもいいんですか？
But hey, at least Bruno isn't any of these other command deck characters, whose defining character trait seems to be that they don't really know what they're doing. Now, if I haven't managed to convince you yet that the series was written as some sort of an inside joke, and the scriptwriters must be very smug anytime someone tries to decipher what hard drugs they were on, let me introduce you to my favorite episode, a Macross magnum opus, as it is, an episode called Virgin Road, which encompasses the entirety of human experience, starting from quasi-friendly rivalry, quickly escalating into an assassination attempt and the most intense 80s knife fight you'll ever see. And the fight, instantly, culminates into romance and an insane, ridiculous, space wedding. And we're, like, 3 minutes into the episode at this point. And my absolute favorite part about this relationship is how when the pair eventually has a baby, the wife suddenly decides to do this.
わかった。少佐、行きますよ。ほら。
And an indicator on how the series is operating in its own super dimension is that no one but the wheelhair is even passingly worried about all this. Space weddings and catapulting babies across the room is just one of those normal daily things you encounter while aboard Macross. We've made it this far without even discussing the actual villains of the series, who are, of course, a giant alien force, who want to cultivate an extreme form of masculine culture, and end up being so much a sausage fest that sexual tension can be directly weaponized against them. But that's another can of worms I don't even want to open right now. Let me instead mention another detail about these villains. In one episode, the cast busts out of their ship, breaking a window, and the villains never actually bother to fix this gaping hole in their command bridge. You can see it looming in the background in future episodes, as a reminder that these people are absolute goddamn clowns. Okay, so this all being said, considering how unhinged all the details I previously mentioned are, it's almost an achievement that the next installment in the franchise still manages to somehow make even less sense, and mostly just features this dude playing guitar and screaming at various things.